Okay, y'all, I don't know if you know this, but the Maze Runner sucks. To be honest though, I've always had a weird relationship with the Maze Runner. I first read the Maze Runner book back in 2013 when I was like in middle school. Instead of just deciding that that series wasn't for me and it was not something that I was enjoying,
you get to this stupid book, and it sucks. And I hated it. It made no sense.
I don't know why I decided that I needed to hate that series with my whole heart. I honestly think it was because I was a piece of shit 13-year-old. One of the reasons why I was really interested in going back to watch the Maze Runner film was because when I had first seen it, I literally went to make fun of it with my friends. And after rewatching the movie for the first time in like 7 or 8 years, I do have a new take. It's shitty. I didn't like the reverb on that. It's shitty. I like that better. What I'm trying to do in this video is basically, I just wanna talk about why the Maze Runner is stupid and make fun of it. So, let's do it. So the basic mystery of the Maze Runner is that there is this place called the Glade, which upon looking at it in the movie is literally just like an open field of like greenery and like there's a couple like trees. But that's basically it. I don't see any bodies of water. Basically every single day the walls to the maze like open up in the morning and then a group of like men go out to like run because it's the Maze Runner. So there's like this elevator that's like in the ground and then like every month a boy is sent up to the top of the maze. So this movie starts with our main character whose name is Thomas. I'm not gonna say anything else about that. So our main character's name is Thomas, and the movie starts with him getting shot up this elevator, and then a group of the boys of the Glade like gather to laugh and harass him until he reaches a point where, in fear for his life, he runs away, and then they lock him in a cage because he ran away. But the beginning of this movie is extremely frustrating because no characters tell us what is going on at all. They will just use like random words or phrases around Thomas, and then when he's like, "What is that?" then all of the characters just like don't say for literally no reason.
Why won't you tell me what's out there?
I'm trying to protect you, man.
For your own good.
I can't let you leave.
Why not?
They just say the same things like, "It's not safe and you can't know the truth." But literally why? Why not? Everybody else knows. Like, is it just like we need to wait a little while? Like, I'm sure that telling him would like make him more calm about the situation. It's stuff like that that makes no freaking sense. Can we talk about Thomas? I don't like the reverb on that. Can we talk about Thomas? Oh. There's no good in between, I realize. The character of Thomas is messy, y'all, but who would have believed it? The character of Thomas is not exciting at all. We know nothing about this character throughout the entire film, and I think that's because this character knows nothing about himself. I am gonna try to name one character trait about this man. There's literally no reason to root for Thomas, and I think that this all comes down to writing. I wish that maybe we would have seen some flashbacks. Maybe he could have like a dream of something and he doesn't know if it's real or not. But instead we're just given like weird like blue lighting shots of like random lab equipment and like people sitting in a lab, and that's like all of his past that we know. I feel like the big flaw that comes with having a mystery that is nobody knows who they are is the audience also doesn't know who they are, and it becomes a little bit redundant and a little bit stupid, I guess. A lot of the times the way that Dylan O'Brien plays him is the fact that he just has this like really stupid look on his face. Like he always has his mouth like slightly open, or his eyes move around a lot for no reason. Something really messy about the writing is the fact that Thomas like is obsessed with the maze for literally no reason. We get large sections of the movie where he stares at the maze, asks questions about the maze.
What's out there?
But you better not go out there.
Why not? What's through there?
There was one point in the film where Thomas like ran, and then some character is like, you should be a runner.
Now, for a second, I thought you had the chops to be a runner.
Wait, runner?
I was under the impression that runner was just a normal word. One of my favorite characters in this movie, his name is Chuck. He's like the prim of the series, where he's like a 12-year-old who's like the youngest one in the Glade. He's too pure for the world. So like immediately you know he's getting gunned down in the third act.
Thomas?
There is this like fish looking kid in the movie, and he's like named Galley. And he, in my opinion, looks like a fish, but that's not relevant. He is obsessed with staying in the maze, and a lot of times this is displayed very subtly in the dialogue.
We are home. We can't leave. I belong to the maze.
You know we can't stay here forever, right?
He hates Thomas, and he thinks that Thomas is the person who ruined everything, which again is conveyed very subtly and not very often.
Thomas doesn't know what he's done, as usual.
Yeah, well, at least I did something.
Everything started going wrong the minute you showed up. Look around, Thomas! Look around! This is your fault! You really think I'm gonna let Thomas back into the maze after what he's done?
Gally.
We don't know why, but this man hates Thomas. I don't understand why this character has a commitment to the Glade. We never find out. We never find out why he wants to stay there. We never understand why he's angry at Thomas. I was under the impression that we wanted to find our way out of the maze for the entire movie. So why is it that when we finally found a way out of the maze, we're angry at Thomas for that? He literally just is stupid. That's literally the whole thing. And I don't know why I expected more from such a shitty movie, but who cares, right? This character is like kind of iconic because there are many times where you're like, oh, the conflict is starting to calm down. And then like out of nowhere, he just like appears and he's angry.
Why are you all just standing there? He's crazy.
You shut up.
And like, I know that I'm not like a film writer, and I know that I have like literally zero credentials at all, but isn't it pretty self-explanatory to give your villain like a reason for the things that they're doing? Like, am I crazy for thinking that that's normal or what? But my main question is like, who elected this fish-looking kid to be the leader? Like, I really don't understand how any of that works. There are these giant like robot bee-looking things that live out in the maze. They are rendered in like ugly CGI, and their whole thing is that like they will kill you, and they are hyped up to be so scary.
Of course, no one's ever seen one and lived to tell about it.
There are several instances where they are attacking people, and never once did they kill a single person. I don't think anybody died by one. Shout out to all the grievers out there. We live for you. Keep on stinging, girl. This movie has that fun thing that a lot of other movies have during this era of young adult movies, which is having like in-universe like slurs against people, which like I kind of live for.
What do you want to be called? Shank?
Shank? I don't have a problem with it, I just think it's stupid. The action in this movie is like straight up awful too. I think it's because most of the time it's between two characters that we do not know, fighting about circumstances that we do not understand. There's always like jarringly loud music and really harsh lighting. After weeks of trying, I finally got this piercing in. Every time there's any drama in the movie though, we have a scene like as the calm after the storm where we just have some random character like calmly explain what just happened to our main character but also the audience.
No. It's called The Changing.
Like, it would be way more intriguing if us as the audience could sort of like put these pieces together ourselves and figure out what's going on, but we never get none of that. There's one day in the maze where the runners never come back when they're supposed to. So the maze is like about to close, and then like at the last possible second, like they start dragging the body of some guy who got like stung by one of those things. Man, I wish we could have seen that. That really would have hyped these things up to be evil and crazy. But no, we never get to see him kill nobody. And also, I just gotta say, for a society that's all about hard work and contributing, these men really do congregate and stare a lot.
What the hell's going on out there?
As the gates start to close, at the last possible second, he decides that he's gonna go and help them. And this is framed as heroic, which I was quite confused about. But honestly, if Thomas was a heroic character, he would have helped them the second that he had the chance to. Instead, he just stared blankly at them for literally like 10 to 15 seconds, not doing anything, until the walls literally started closing in and his window of opportunity started getting less and less. And then at the last possible second, when there was no way that he was going to be able to help them at all, he decided to go. They hyped up these grievers to be like super scary and super masculine, and if like you even look one in the eyes, you better say a prayer because you're gonna die, idiot. And then like Thomas just like hides under a vine and then it just walks right past. That's so good. So it's time to talk about a character who I live for because she's messy as hell, and that's our girl, Teresa. Why are the names in this movie so bad? Oh my god. But anyways, Teresa. She is a girl who comes up from the box thing after Thomas does. And like as an audience member, you're trying not to think of the sexual implications of that. But honestly, this character is very confused. Because she gets shot up this elevator thing like everyone else does, but when she comes up, she randomly knows Thomas's name and like they supposedly knew each other beforehand. I thought that this girl was gonna be like the key to the entire experiment and that there was information that she knew, but no, literally she comes up and she's like, I know who Thomas is. And then she just fades into obscurity in the background and we never hear from her again. And I feel really bad to say it, but the girl who plays Teresa, she really is doing the bare minimum in this movie, y'all. Like there is just something about the delivery that is just so off. And I don't know what it is.
They're gonna come back and they're gonna keep coming back until you're all dead.
Shut up!
It sounds like her accent is coming through, but like the dilemma with that is like, I don't know if this girl has an accent or not, or if she just talks like that.
Charge,
Hey!
Thomas, what about that? Maybe you should be in charge.
It's Albie!
These were in my pocket when I came up.
What are you... Gally, what are you doing?
She does get some really thrilling action scenes though. Something that I notice about a lot of mediocre young adult novels that came out in 2012 or 2013 is the way that the fans of those media will latch on to random side characters and have like deep headcanons for them, because the fans of The Maze Runner are obsessed with a character called Newt. If you don't know who Newt is, basically he's that like skinny 30-year-old man who like is in the background of a lot of the scenes and like talks a couple of times. The fans of The Maze Runner, which I didn't know existed, but they are obsessed with Newt, and mostly they're obsessed with the fact that he is gay and secretly in love with Thomas over the course of the entire series. I kept finding dozens of fan edits that would include like romantic music and then like any time the two characters would even look at each other or talk to each other. You would assume that having so many people in the fandom think that Newt was gay, that would turn off most of the female fans from shipping themselves with the character. But no.
His name was Newt, and he looked good in the way that's cute, especially
nobody believed this. This is a big fat lie. He is not gay. He is way more than that. He deserves more, and he is the best person I ever saw. And I don't know the plot of any of the other Maze Runner movies, but apparently...
No matter his fictional, it's too bad that he ended up dead. Shot in the head by his right hand. Sad for him.
I miss Newt. Listening to these words made me cry. Why? Why did the author have to kill him off? Like, this series really seems to go off the rails in the last 2 books. Like, I kind of like want to read it now.
Shot in the head by his right hand.
But despite the fact that there was 0 evidence pointing to Newt's sexuality at all, 11 years after the series was published, James Dashner confirmed on Twitter that Newt was secretly gay all along, and that he always knew this and just never thought to include it. If you actually have a character who's like shamelessly gay and is just living their life, like, that's good for kids to see, not like 10 years later confirming it on Twitter like a douchebag.
Like a special love between these 2 characters. No. Okay.
Well, there is. No, I mean, there's definitely, there is absolutely love.
And there's nothing wrong. So
No.
A lot of this movie is accompanied by scenes of our characters like walking or running at like a very boring pace with like very loud, intense music in the background for no reason. When we see these characters walking through the maze, I would love to see moments where they like cut back the music or cut back the action and just have these characters like banter with each other. I want to know which of these characters is like funny. I want to hear them making jokes as they go. But instead we don't get any of that. We just get more exposition and it's just like incredibly boring. It's like with small things, the writing in this can be way better and polished a lot more, but we don't get any of that. One night, the gates of the maze don't close, so then those evil bees can come and kill everybody. I was so excited, and then we just got like a terrible CGI fight where the darkness was like way down and we couldn't see anything. And I don't even think they killed anybody. But I literally was so angry. I like want to see people get killed by those bees so bad. We were told that no one had ever seen a griever and lived to tell about it, but there's a whole lot of people seeing those grievers and living to tell about it in this movie. There's this weird thing that comes in later where it's like a memory thing that like you stab yourself with and like you get your memory back. And so Thomas, being our main character, is like, I'm gonna do this for some reason.
Thomas?
But the memory thing literally came from like the evil bee's like stinger. And I was really excited because I was like, oh dang, we're gonna get a flashback. I'm so excited. And then we just got like random clips that made literally no sense and just made everything way more confused. He just has like one scene where he like rambles on for like an absurd amount of time, just straight up saying exposition.
Guys, I'm one of them. It all started when we were kids. Every month, one after the other, like clockwork. I watched you guys for years. They were experimenting on us. It's not a prison, it's a test.
But then the big twist is that like it was all an experiment. But like we freaking knew that. What is happening? So Thomas and Flop Risa created the maze. But like, why? Why did they do this? What is the significance of that? What does that change? What is the purpose of the maze?
It doesn't matter.
You would assume that an actor playing a character who has gotten his memory back would play the character a little bit differently. I was assuming that Dylan O'Brien was gonna add a few nuances to the performance, or Thomas would carry himself differently, and he literally didn't. You assume that there's gonna be a status quo change when Teresa is introduced and then she just fades into the background. You assume there's gonna be a status quo change when Thomas gets his memory back and then nothing changes and they never mention it ever again. It's just strange. Gally, the fish boy, he decides to like tie up the main characters to like a stake to like maybe burn them, and then like Teresa just like kicks somebody in his pee-pee and then they escape. And so all of our characters except for the fish, they like go into the maze together to like find a way out, and while they're walking they like see a giant door that they like didn't notice. And then when they go in there, it's like a lab, like a boring laboratory. And there's like dead bodies in there. In the laboratory, there's like this video of a woman that plays, and for the second time in 10 minutes, boring exposition that literally changes nothing in the mind of the viewer.
I'm sure by now you must all be very confused.
Like basically the sun got bigger or something.
But the sun has scorched our world.
And then like fires happened.
Billions of lives lost to fire.
And then there was like a virus.
We called it the flare. A deadly virus that attacks the brain.
This is starting to feel a little bit familiar, y'all. I'm getting nervous. And then she like shoots herself in the face. She really shot herself right in the face. She looked at that camera and she said, "Ooh." But as she's recording this explanation, that's when like all of these men like come and start killing everybody in the lab. You didn't think to film your apology video before you were literally getting gunned down. But here's the thing, y'all. At this point, we've gotten like 3 or 4 explanations about what the maze is and what the goal of the maze is. And I still don't understand it at all.
I'm sure by now you must all be very confused.
Like maybe we find out in book 2 or book 3 or the prequel or the sequel to the prequel or the novella in Newt's POV. I honestly feel like James Dashner had a really interesting concept of like a maze and people get sent up and they don't know what's going on. And then he just like wrote that. And then at the end he was like, oh shit, I have to like have a reason for why this is happening. And then he was just like, it was an experiment and they were in there and they were sent in there. Like, what? What?
I'm sure by now you must all be very confused.
But anyways, while they were in the lab, Daddy Fish came back for some third act drama.
No.
I love him so much. Maybe it's because literally we are 2 hours in and he is still talking about why we can't leave the maze. We're well past that now.
We can't leave.
He is stabbed, and then at the same time that he was stabbed, he shoots his gun and then falls to the ground and dies. And for about 15 to 20 seconds, the camera like lingers on Daddy Fish as he dies. None of the characters are reacting to the fact that he shot his gun. And then when he's finally like dead on screen and like we pan over to our group, suddenly that Chuck kid, that innocent child,
Thomas.
that is not how death works, dog. If I got shot, I would try to make it about me immediately. I'd be like, ow. But he just stood there. Do I think it's funny that they kill the innocent child at the end of the movie for literally no reason? I do. I really do. And that child actor, I don't want to read, but he literally was like,
Oh my God.
So the movie started finishing up and I was still confused about what the purpose of the maze was, right? Oh, it was an experiment and then they were a part of the experiment and now I assume that they were gonna be reintroduced into the world. But then that bitch who got shot in the head at the end of the movie, she like is alive and it was like a fake out.
I think it's safe to say the maze trials were a complete success. Time now to begin phase 2.
The experiment that they were told about was a secret experiment within the experiment, and now the real experiment is about to begin. What?
I'm sure by now you must all be very confused.
It feels a little bit convoluted, but honestly, I can get behind it. Secret experiment within the experiment, that is a different experiment than the ones that they were told, but that one is the real one, but they think it's fake. Or wait, or no, maybe it's the other way around.
Confused.
Maybe I need to watch the sequels to really get it, but I doubt they explain it. I'm sure they're just gonna introduce like more concepts that make zero sense. At the end of the movie, our characters are dragged away on a helicopter by random people that we do not know. They don't seem threatened to be taken away by these random people, and they stare over the maze and maybe they recount all of the memories and trauma that they've endured in that maze. and then the next stage is gonna begin, but we don't know what that means. And we still don't even know what the maze was or what the point is. What are they trying to figure out? Or what are they trying to figure out? I will literally go to the grave wanting to know. And I think James Dashner does too. But as a whole, the Maze Runner sucks. My takeaway from The Maze Runner was the fact that in 2013, I hated the series because the second book was sort of off the rails and confusing. And now, when I revisited it, I learned a lot more, and it's that the plot, writing, characters, and author are all incredibly shitty and awful. So.
Woke up in a box, my name is Thomas, and this must be fate. I haven't got a clue, they call me Greenie Shank and Shuck, and now I'm stuck inside this big ass maze with little chubby Chuck. I know I've got to be a runner, but they all say to let it go.
At the end of the day though, I am very happy that I have 2 sequels that I can watch if I ever want answers to this mystery. Actually, maybe not.